Hello everyone and welcome along to an immediate post-match reaction to Rangers 0, Roma 2 in the Europa League. I wish I could say it was a surprise, but I think we all kind of expected this as we went into the game. This may be a fairly short match reaction because it was all a bit meh, wasn't it, JB?
Yeah, no, it was kind of what we expected a little bit. I think the only chance we had tonight is if we got the first goal and then the crowd ran with it. But I think straight from the first whistle, well, certainly the first couple of minutes, it was kind of very samey of what we've seen this season, especially what we've seen in Europe. As the team was lining up, my mum, who doesn't know a lot about football, apologies, mum, she said, "How small do the Rangers team look in comparison to this team?" And I was going through it in terms of that starting 11: Aarons, Magoma, Raskin, Moore, Barron, and Gassama. You can only afford to have one or two of that type of profile of player within your 11 in European football, and you could argue Scottish football, given the opposition that you're going to come up against. So unless you're either lightning quick or technically really good, then you're going to get caught out. And it was like men v boys again tonight, and it's very similar to what we've seen. It was giving me Club Bruges vibes in terms of they just bullied us. And people might say, "Oh well, the second half we didn't concede." They were just toying with us, and there's no point in trying to sugarcoat that. They could have turned the gas up at any time if they wanted to. But no, it's disappointing. But it's kind of, I say, it's a reflection of where we've been this season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I've got a note, one of the notes I wrote down here, which I'll bring up Gary Howden's comment in a second. But I just wrote, this squad is just nothing. Defensively, a mile off it. Midfield was in cheap possession constantly and then being caught out of position. Up front, we have nothing. Um, it's hard. And then Gary Howden here has said, "Evening, guys. Sorry, but this is hands down the worst squad of players I've seen in my lifetime as a Rangers fan, and I've been a fan for 40 years. Thewell has to go immediately." JB, I think this squad is nothing. They can't defend. We'll go into some of the 2 goals that we conceded. Nico Raskin, I'm going to be maybe a bit harsh here, but he's verging on being a myth. He's not doing anything. He's a man that did well for a couple of months and has started to believe his own hype. He might well do well for his national team, but he's not doing it here, and he's playing us into bother, and he's not being the main man that we need him to be up front. We could not look less convincing or less like we're going to score than anything. I felt like second half we created chances, but I've never thought we were going to score any of them. What was your view overall of the performance? I guess because you could almost argue that the game was dead after the second goal, and we probably played a bit better in the second half, but it was fairly similar to Sunday, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was once the pressure was off, in terms of the pressure, there was no pressure coming from Roma at 2-0. It was almost a case of some players started to show a little bit. But when I say a little bit, that's kind of being generous. Back to your point with Raskin, one of the things that we did hear through kind of people that we speak to in and around the game was Nico Raskin has been doing his own thing all season. Do you know what I mean? Turning up late for training, turning up when he wants, playing, picking and choosing when he performs. Tonight, I am under no way, as I was going to say, Mark Russell Martin, I'm still scarred. There's no way Danny Roll's telling Nico Raskin to drop into the mid of the back three for touches of the ball. Surely not. Nico Raskin was just running around, just trying to get touches of the ball, but then just passing it to the guy next to him. But then what was happening is if he passed it forward, there was no one to bounce the ball back to because he dropped that deep. So all of a sudden we had a back six, and it was like we couldn't get out. Conor Barron covered a hell of a lot of ground and put lots of heart and effort in. But there's, as you said, you touched on it there. There's just nothing there. There's kind of nothing where you go, well, at least them two are starting to pair up like a centre half pairing or a central midfield pairing or a forward line, or there's just nothing. It's just 11 individuals who just look disinterested at times. I mean, the first goal, I had to watch it back at half time just to make sure it wasn't my eyes playing tricks. No idea what De Gea was doing to give the corner away. There was under no pressure. The Roma players just poked the ball towards him, and he's managed to kick it out for a corner under no pressure. He could have just took a touch, but got his head up and walked away with the ball, but he kicked it out for a corner. And then from the corner, again, weak, as we've seen so many times this season. Obviously, the decision's been made to go zonal, which I think is fine if people hold the position and kind of stay in the zones. But they just ball watched. Chimiti was ball watching. The Jigger was ball watching, and it just wasn't a surprise. I think we look really unfit. I think that's another thing I would say. Towards the end of that game, lads were blowing out their arse. Again, Sunday you could say there's a slight exception because we were down to 10 men for so long. But even the lads that come on looked as if they couldn't run. So we're just gonna have to buckle. I guess it feels like I say in this most pods. We're just gonna have to buckle up because this is what we're gonna get this season. Even I was watching the game with my dad there, and we said, "Oh, the international break's coming up." But then you look at it, that team there. Suter's going to be away. De Giga's going to be away. Magoma's going to be away with England under 19s. Raskin's going to be away. Moore's going to be away. Barron might be away with England, Scotland under 21s. Don't even know if he's old, not too old now.
He must be at 24, 25 now, surely.
Is he? Well, there you go. Chimiti will be away with Portugal under 21s. So there's kind of, then you go the next level. Diamandi will probably be away. Antman will probably be away. Asgard. So all these guys, he's got no time to. It's all right. We'll get time on the training field over the international break. He's got no time over the international break. So I think this is it. This is it, lads. This is it for the season. I wouldn't be trusting these clowns with the January transfer kitty if there's any there. I think I would not be surprised to see Nico Raskin moving on in January to try and fund some of the squad. There's still a financial fair play thing that we're going to have to get round. And when you're spending 8 millions on your Chimitis, 3 millions on Miofskis, 3 million on your Fernandez's, 4 million on Asgard's, we can't balance that. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to make sure that we're being financially savvy. And yeah, the squad's in real bad shape. So much so, I estimate there'll only be 3 players out of that starting 11 there at the start of next season, and that's being generous. And that's me maybe looking at Butland, Gassama, and Chimiti are probably the only 3 that'll be there. Sorry, and Barron. They're probably the only 4 that'll be there at the start of next season, and I wouldn't class any of them 4 as guaranteed starters. So yeah, no, it's good, but I think what we're just going to have to do now is just kind of dust ourselves down and domestically just try and compete as best as we can, hobble over till January. I'd hope that the management team can unearth a couple of gems for us, because that's going to have to need to be, and week by week we can see some form of progression. I mean, the Hibs win the other week, we would never have got that a few weeks ago. So things will get better domestically. Well, it couldn't get much worse, could it? But I think things will get better in the coming weeks domestically. But when it comes down to the crunch, we've got a team full of no hopers, and it was very interesting to see that obviously the banners that were coming out in the Govan today.
It felt like it turned into one big protest from about half time onwards. Obviously, we were watching from home today, but even in the stadium, it felt like there was loads of cheers for stuff and clapping, and it was nothing to do with the game. It was all stuff that was happening kind of in the stands and off the pitch. Yeah. And that
one thing I would say about the crowd, though, the crowd stuck with it. There was a really good crowd even going into the last few minutes of the game. So fair play. As I say, I know me and you tend to sit together. When me and Craig sit together, we tend to win. So we need to start sitting together more. But I think we've had 4 wins together, haven't we? I think so far this season we've only won like 5 or 6. So, but no, joking aside, I thought the fans were good. I thought the fans came across pretty well today. Again, but it's just a pity there's no reward there for them, because the efforts that sit in the stands certainly isn't being matched on the pitch.
Yeah, I think let's And we'll come on to talk about Andrew Kavanagh, and we'll talk about Kevin Thelwell and the likelihood of, I guess, almost the certainty of him being in control of where the money goes in January and that side of things. But on the goals, first one, you kind of covered it, but the zonal marking, we spoke about it on Sunday, so the zonal marking is not working at all. I don't know if I have ever seen zonal marking work. I'm amazed it's still a thing, but if it's going to work, you need the players to make it work, and we don't have that. We don't have that, and the players got clueless. We're losing. That first goal was almost a carbon copy of the goal on Sunday.
Yeah, except it didn't go direct. Yeah, you're right.
The ball went into the exact same area. The header was the exact same. It just it turned into a Steven Gerrard, Joe Aribo front post special with Morelos coming into the back post. That's what it turned into, and it's whatever we're doing. It must be the worst team I've ever seen at set pieces. The set pieces have been a gripe for a long, long time at Rangers, but this must be the worst we've ever been at them. We have no threat whatsoever in attacking set pieces, and we have no defensive capability whatsoever in opposition set pieces. So set pieces are a disaster, whatever way you look at them, and that was just proven again tonight. The one I want to come on to is the second goal, JB. John Souttar, why is he still playing for Rangers? Why is he still at that centre half? He seems immune from being ousted out of that team. Everyone else is swapped out, swapped in, changed. He is the one mainstay, and he is at fault most games these days for a goal, or for a lot of errors, and he should not be a Rangers player. He does not deserve to be in that team, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot by continuing to play him.
Yeah, it still makes me laugh that people chased Connor Goldson for him. Once we get him on the right hand side, he'll be fine. His ball possession is horrendous, horrendous. Like, there was 3 or 4 times today he had time, space, men available, and he just give the ball away to the Roma players. There wasn't even a pass on, and he managed to just give it away. So uncomfortable, so clumsy. As I say, first time I've been on since Sunday. I thought he was shocking on Sunday. The only thing where he saves himself is he's brave. Do you know what I mean? So he puts himself into brave situations. When I say brave, he's stopping a ball. Do you know what I mean? He's not taking a bullet. But like he's a siege defender. And again, I know some people don't like that statement, but when your back's against the wall, you need someone to put a leg out. He's good at that. But if you've got to ask him to do anything intelligent, there's nothing there. His ball retention is really poor. His positioning is poor at times. He's a ball watcher. He does win
for that second goal, right? For that second goal, the guy is in line with him behind his back and manages, and the time it takes for that the kind of I don't really want to call it a cross, but the ball to curled into the guy has got in front of him, and managed to have enough time to put his foot on it, pass it to the side, and the boy rolls it into the bottom right hand corner. I mean, that's criminal. That's criminal amateur football.
Yeah, it's not the type of goal you should be conceding when you're playing 5 at the back. Because let's have it right, it's not a 3-5-2. It's a 5-3-2 at best. Do you know what I mean? And for us to concede goals like that, it's awful. And sometimes you might need to. I think what he's going to have to do, the manager, he's going to have to throw darts at the dartboard. I know we said this about Martin at times. He felt as if he was just trying things. I think what Danny Roll needs to do now is understand what he's working with quickly. Do you know what I mean? In terms of Fernandez can't be any worse. I mean, I know Peterborough fans might say this, that, the
No,
other.
but I think even I was thinking about Enciala when he came in. He had a couple of he played like 9 or 10 games, and he had one shocker, I think, and one where you're like, oh, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, St. Mirren and Kilmarnock in a week. I think, kind of. I think that was the last in memory of him, weren't he? But he performed really well in Bilbao away. When he come on there, he had some really good games. He had some good games domestically, and again, the confidence was on the floor when he come in as well. I can just remember him popping up on the right wing and whipping a couple of crackers into the back post. But just how bad must they be for them not to get a look in ahead of some of these guys? It's just, it's madness. And as I say, there's nobody in that team that even look at. I thought Gassama showed glimpses today. He mustn't be fit, because when he first come in, he was picking the ball up, and Antman was picking the ball up. You could see there was real raw pace about them. I mean, these leggings that he's wearing underneath his pants, they don't look like sometimes you see tights, because they're obviously been protecting the thighs in terms of giving that bit of protection. But it doesn't look like as if it's like a cycling short. It looks like it's tracky bottoms cut short. It's like, I don't know. He just doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look as if he can run and open up. Where he does has quite a bit his success is where he's dogged. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, it's very tight and it's low sense of gravity. And he opened them up a couple of times. But I know we haven't got to Chimiti yet. Honest to God, it's not very often me dad criticises Rangers players. My dad's quite positive, like, and he called him a lump of wood today, and I just had a little smirk to myself, like, because that's when, when my dad's slagging Rangers players off, you are a bad footballer, like. And
well, it was interesting because Ali McCoist in the commentary spoke about he's seen some signs of some stuff from Trinity, but
I think because the bar is that low, that when he does something, like I think there was one in the second half, he cut in from the left-hand side, beat his man. I think the defender was more shocked than anyone. And then he hit a shot straight at the goalie. Now, the commentary teams, that's better, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, it's better. It's better than nothing, but it's such a low bar. I just thought his all-round game today was really poor. He had a couple of runs in behind. The one where he dragged, the one first, well, I thought he started the game okay with that one that he dragged wide. He switched off at the corner, ball watching, and then that one just before the was that just before the half? The one where he went through on his left foot. It was second half, wasn't it? Went through on his left foot. He had time, space, and he ended up stretching for it and hit the side netting. He didn't work the keeper or nothing. It was just absolutely horrendous. And another thing, he's not hungry to score goals. Like there was a couple of times where Gassama got in behind, or I think Moore got in behind one time, and then you're looking for your number 9 to be looking for a tap in. He's standing behind Roma players, almost as if even if it broke, he still had to got through 2 or 3 Roma defenders to get there. There's no hunger. If I use the example of, and I don't like to use it unfortunately, but the boy who scored for Celtic on Sunday, Osman, he had a hunger to get that ball over that line and slid in. It was almost a case of that's where the ball might go. That's where I'm going to go. Whereas no one's going to watch the highlights back, unfortunately. But anytime we did get him behind, he's got no interest in getting into a goal scoring position. He man marks defenders when we're attacking, and it's honestly he's done. Like we will not make. I don't think we'll make any money back off him whatsoever. The only hope we've got is he does something at an under-21 tournament, and some team in Portugal is stupid enough to throw $1 million or 2 at us. That is it, because
I think
it's horrendous.
there's obviously that rumour that's going around today in terms of him heading to Braga on loan in January. Braga,
They can have him now. They can have him now, and he can play against us in a couple of weeks. I know they probably turn into fucking R9, but yeah. I think that the point on commentary I thought was dead interesting in terms of the which Ali said. I think we've all spoken around it kind of offline, but when mainstream media is talking about it, there's not one player is better than any player that left the squad last season. Now, there's a couple of exceptions in there. Cherny, I don't think wanted to stay, and or financially that wasn't viable. Get that, but if you look at the players that have gone out the door, for the players that have come in, and for the expense that we've put out, it's absolutely scandalous. It's bordering on memes. Like it just doesn't make any sense. There's not one player there in that squad. If somebody said to me, JB, you're going to lose every single player in that squad for the start of next season, there's no one. I'd be disappointed. No one.
No. Yeah, I just think it's so disappointing. I don't know where we go from here for the rest of the season. It's almost like have to be just have to put up with it. it's just
I think I do. I've got good vibes off Rule. Sorry, I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be all right. So, but he can only work with what he's got. Unfortunately, what he's got now is horrendous. Is really poor. If you look at the players that have come in over the summer, who you're gonna struggle to move. Antman's in the wrong movie, unfortunately. I think we've seen of him is a glimpse in that first game that he come in. Other than that,
look, he's a guy, right, that came in having had, what was it, 17 or 18 assists last
first last
season.
year. I don't think has he had an assist this year? He had an assist for Gassama, didn't he, in the
Yeah.
first game where he crossed it? But again, it's two different managers now. So do you know what I mean? Has that been coached out? You can't be coached out here in that time. But he doesn't look quick. Whereas when he first come, he looked lightning, and it's like you don't lose your pace that quick. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rangers' his age does. You know what I mean? I'm only 17, but it's if you go through that team of the players that come in the summer, who Dijiga will be gone, Chimiti will unfortunately be there because I don't think anyone else will have him. Antman will hopefully there's something there to work with. Gassama is a bright spark because there's something there, but domestically, no goals or assists. Or I think the only thing he's done for us is probably won a penalty against. Was it Dundee
I
later
think
on?
it's interesting if you look at Danny Rule's pre-match press conference, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
If you look at that, he was asked about where do you think this Rangers team needs to be improved or strengthened. I can't remember the exact word. But it was very much around, well, we need to do better in the final third and we also need to defend better. So that gives me hope that actually they are going to focus on in January fixing those areas of the park. And he's obviously going to do as much as he can coaching wise. He's also going to do as much as he can coaching wise, but there's probably a limit to how much he can actually get out of the parts that he has at this moment in time. But it gave me a bit of hope that he's seen what we're seeing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You're always a bit worried that they're not quite seeing the same thing, and he's given Chimiti a chance because he thinks he's going to become a world beater at some point. And actually, he's probably given Chimiti a chance because one, he has to, and two, he's trying to play him into a bit of confidence and a bit of form. But it gave me a wee bit of confidence that Danny Rule isn't happy with what he has. Almost stupid as that sounds.
Yeah. He's not coming in and saying he's saying the right things, isn't he? Unlike Russell Martin, it was almost there's no talk of anxiety. There's no talk of players feeling sorry for themselves. It's almost a case of right, we need to dust ourselves down and we need to get better. It must be better and needs to be better quickly. I see the disappointing for me today. I mean, the players their energy looked sapped. Do you know, like they didn't look as if there was no freshness there. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, I was hoping. I think because the team was so unstructured, because Raskin was dropping in, so therefore you were asking Connor Barron to do so much running. It was 1v4 at times, and I just thought the ball retention today wasn't clever either. So like even at 1-0, we should have just tried to take the sting out of it a little bit and just keep the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
But Roma didn't allow us to do it. They were too physical. And our players haven't got the confidence to just put the foot on the ball or carry it into space. Movement off the ball is horrendous when we're in possession.
There isn't any. That's why the Wipers turned back.
Movement's shocking. And
Why
when
the
we're out,
Wipers turned back all the time.
and when we're out of possession, we don't get close to them. We don't get up their arses. We just stand and watch and almost applaud and just go, right, go on, try and break us down. When you play good players, they will break you down. I don't think Roma broke sweat tonight. Do you know what I mean? I know there's all right people saying, "Oh, the top of the Serie A." Yeah, great. They did not break sweat today. There was not what. I mean, was there a booking? I don't think was there a booking throughout the 90 minutes for both teams. That tells me that the game was played at such a pace that it was comfortable for everyone. It was like there was nobody getting hurt. There was nobody being aggressive. It had a pre-season friendly feel to me on the pitch, almost as if, right, let's get this one out the way, lads. Come on, we're done. As soon as it went 2-0. but that's just not good enough. Do you know what I mean? And as I say, Thursday night used to be Rangers night, but it's they've even took that off us. As bad as things have been the last few years, you always had that hope that Thursday would come out and entertain, would come out and there'd be a bit of dig, bit of effort. But they suck that right out of us now. And the next 3 games, is it 3 games we've got left? Three.
Ferencvaros.
Yeah.
Braga, Ferencvaros will do Gretz and Porto. 4 games left.
Four. There you go. I know there's no friendlies, but they are. There's 4 glorified friendlies now. Not far off. If we don't, we've got to win that next one.
You just need to find a way to get a point.
Or a goal.
We've scored 1 goal in 4 games so far. 1 goal in 4 games, and that's the issue. Like normally, Europa League, like even Roma are 1 point off the top of Serie A at the moment. They're a good team. They are playing a really competitive league with teams of the highest caliber, and they are doing particularly well in it. So you can't say that we are definitely going to beat Roma.
No.
Anyone coming to Ibrox, you would expect to give them a game.
Yeah, they should come away from today going, "Oh, we done well. We dug in there." Do you know what I mean? We came away there from a really difficult place. If you think about all over the last, probably since Gerrard come back, the only team that's probably come to Ibrox and been comfortable was like Bayer Leverkusen, were relatively comfortable, and Lyon. Out with that, now we haven't won every single game throughout that period, but one thing that has happened, any team that's come to Ibrox has been in for a fight and a challenge, and the players, selfishly, I've used it as a stepping board for themselves to kind of promote themselves and do well. They're not even doing that now, and I think that's what happened when you build your team full of weak kids. Because that's what they are, and whether it's physically weak or mentally weak. I said it on a pod a few weeks ago, and I think somebody, I can't know if it was you, Craig, or it might have been Ian or Kieran, said, "Oh, I'm not sure about that, JB. This starting 11 is not far off a domestic team that we come up against. It's not a million miles away, because you go through it. If we go through that 11 today, Butland is a good goalkeeper, so we'll take that one. Aaron's has showed me nothing. He shows, again, he's one of them players. If he does something, you're surprised that he's done something. I haven't seen him hit a cross. I haven't seen him run past a man. I haven't seen him throw any big tackles in. Tavernier, we know where he's at. He's coming to his end. John Souther said at loads of occasions, he's as good as Grant Hanley for me. That's the bar. That's the level.
Maybe worse than
if John Souther gets released tomorrow, just watch where he ends up. He'll end up like Ryan Jack, playing in a second division team in Turkey. That Dijiga, I think, he's won the lottery getting a move to Wolves. Do you know what I mean? And fair play to the lad. He's obviously, he must have something about him to have got that move. But with all due respect, this isn't Belgrade. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the type of challenge that you're coming up against in that league. Magoma's just a kid. He should be if we're bringing him up on loan, he should be a 3rd or 4th choice left back option. The left backs over the years, I mean, people were slagging Jeffy last season. Jeffy's much better than him. I'm not having that. Jeffy's not better than them. Raskin's dropped off a cliff. Mikey Moore has shown glimpses, and that is it. Just glimpses. No way we're getting value for money out of that loan deal.
I think with Mikey Moore, that's understandable. He's a 17 or 18-year-old.
18-year-old lad. He reminds me, but when James Maddison come up to Aberdeen, and you kind of see there's something there. There's glimpses of quality, but he's not scoring or creating anything. Do you know what I mean? He's creating the odd thing, but again, just doesn't look comfortable. Barron is a middle of the road SPFL player. Again, if he got released tomorrow, would he get a guaranteed move to a top half of the Scotland? Maybe, maybe not. Gassama's got a little bit about him, and Chimiti, remember Ellis Sims, who came up to up to Hearts a few years ago on loan from Everton? He's probably at that level. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, that's the ability. I would say Ellis Sims had a lot more into his game. So if you go through it and you kind of break it down like that, and you go, that's not. There's nothing. It's a team of nothingness. That said, I'm looking forward to Sunday already. But I think back to your question earlier of where do we go from here. I think it's just got to be a case of just keep going domestically and hope that we can, because it's the hope that kills you. Just hope we can stumble on something that can see us through till January, and then we bring in 3 or 4, and some of these loan players, if it's an opportunity to send them back, then we send them back, and then if there's an opportunity to get some money in for 1 or 2 of them, then we take the money and then we rebuild. And I hate that phrase because it feels like it's a rebuild every 12 months. What you don't want to be doing is turn your rebuild into every 6 months. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Fernandez at length or Rothwell, another one of our signings in the summer. Nowhere near the start 11, nowhere near it. So yeah, it's not fun, is it? But we'll crack on.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned earlier in the podcast about kind of we'd start to talk about January, I guess, and Kevin Thelwell and the fact he's going to be given the reins to try and, obviously with Danny Rule rather than Russell Martin at his side, but given the reins to start to try and improve the squad and build the squad. Just bring up this comment from Jordan AR, who's kindly donated £5 to the channel. Thank you very much to Jordan. He says, I can't believe Kavanagh seems to be so forgiving of someone who's spent £20 million of his money on what's on that pitch. If you're Andrew Kavanagh sitting there tonight, what are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking about the way that this has gone compared to even where Rangers were when you first started to look at buying the club? Because when it was probably about 12 months, just over 12 months ago now, just under 12 months ago, sorry, that they first started talks. It was the end of November, I think, I'm sure, that they started talks about buying Rangers. At that point, we were flying high in the Europa League, and we were in the league. We weren't doing great, but we were flying high in Europa League, and now it's under his stewardship. We have dropped from finishing in the top 8 of the Europa League to finishing currently being bottom of the table with 0 points and 1 goal scored in 4 games. What do you think he's sitting there thinking?
Well, 2 things. Well, we finished on 14 points, I think it was last year in the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of that drop off, and we were competing against teams like Man United, Tottenham. So from outside the looking in, you're looking at that going, "What? Wow, this club's competing at that table, so to speak." Don't get me wrong. We've always known that we've overachieved when we've got onto that European scene, but we've earned it because of the hard work and effort that's gone in. My biggest concern with Kavanagh is he's not a football man. I think he's openly admitted he's not a soccer fan. Do you know what I mean? He's a businessman first and foremost. Now, why he's picked us to try and come and make money is beyond me. But you could just picture Kevin Thelwell and Russell Martin type characters just saying, "It's fine, it's all right. These lads just need time. And it'll all come, it'll all click together." Hit them with a few football jargons. If he's taking any external advice from anyone, surely to God he's getting told, "You can't continue with this." I mean, just sitting down with Ali McCoist and whoever the commentator was today, because they've nailed it. They've nailed it, and I mean, I know you obviously Ali's closer, but that's the outside looking in, the outside world looking in. Nigel Rio-Coco done a fantastic piece on NBS, not just just after the Bruges game, and that was someone no connection with Scottish football, and he knew about the Rangers standards and teams fighting and the effort that needs to go in order for teams like us to be successful in Europe, and he said that is just not there at the moment. And that just isn't there, and it's not there on or off the pitch for me. So I think he must be sitting there going, he must be taking external advice. I mean, the fact that they've allowed Thelwell to do what he's done, and then obviously with the manager that he brought in, like their man, between him, I believe that was heavily Patrick Stewart, but then to make a decision then to start bringing family members in whilst things are going so bad, and then it's not until you start to lift the cover up a little bit and you start to do a bit of research into Thelwell's son in terms of the signings that he's brought in and how horrendous they've been. I think Norwich, someone said Norwich are sitting second from bottom of the Championship.
I think there's a lot of context around Norwich. I was reading John Walker's post earlier on for our podcast with us, but there's a lot of context around Norwich's position in terms of injuries to key players, etc. That's meant that players they've sold haven't necessarily been replaced because of players that have then been injured for most of the season so far. But I think there's an inherent mistrust there. It's just not.
I think this lad could have been.
It's not even his son's fault. Like his son's just opportunity. Like it's not his son's fault, but it's just part of
It's optics, innit? Yeah. And I think that there's a massive one thing about Rangers is optics is so important. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the statements on Sunday that come out or Monday after the refereeing performance, optics, it was weak. Do you know what I mean? Everyone just shrugged their shoulders and said, "Oh what? Oh so what?" And I think one of the things that people have probably underestimated, if I said to a hell of a lot of it, bear in mind, obviously living down here, I know a lot of Everton fans and I know a lot of Wolves fans as well, they wouldn't have knew who Kevin Thelwell was. Do you know what I mean? But whereas coming up here, Rangers know the name of the kit man. Do you know what I mean? Rangers fans know the name of everybody. They know the guy who works on the front door. Do you know? It's like there's a real deep connection, and I think the banner summed it up really well today in terms of this isn't a hobby for us. Do you know what I mean? It genuinely is a way of life, and it has a massive impact in terms of your how you get up tomorrow morning. Do you know what I mean? When if you go into work or whatever you do, and it makes it kind of it consumes you. And when it's great, there's nothing better. But we also need to call out when it is like it is at the moment. We've got to find a way to get the standards back, and how they're going to do that is the $1 million question.
Yeah, well, it might be a $75 million question, to be fair, by the time we get there. I think we'll round it off there. Another thoroughly, I was going to say, disappointing night. It's not even disappointing anymore. It's just a bit meh night as a Rangers fan. GB seemed to have disappeared off the screen, but I'm rounding off anyway. Just Roma are a good team. We lost 2-0. Roma took their foot off the gas, probably thankfully they took their foot off the gas. And it's just a nothing result, a nothing game, and we learned absolutely nothing at all about this team, apart from they are exactly what we thought they were. We can't score, we can't defend, and we look forward to Dundee away on Sunday, which is a must-win game for us, no doubt. It will be a difficult game as well. Stephen Presley seems to have them set up well for games against the top teams in the league. So we'll see how that one goes. But my thanks to JB, my thanks to everyone who's watching. If you've not subscribed already, please do. We're so close to hitting 9,000 subscribers. We're, I think, 29 or 30 subscribers away from that. So please do. It helps us massively. JB?
Just one more thing, just speaking of subscribers there, on Sunday, me and Kieran had we're very fortunate to bump into some subscribers and some followers, and I did promise them a shout out on next time I was on. So Ryan and Chris Littlejohn, a couple of twins, genuinely thought I'd had too many pints when I thought of seeing the same person twice coming up to say hello, and managed to sit next to older boy called Derek from Bishop Briggs, cracking fella, and was asking after a few of our members as well, a few of our contributors. So it was nice to bump into a couple of people, and it was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to speak to some listeners and people that follow the pod. So make sure you do subscribe. Helps us massively. And as I say, we're really close to that 9,000 subscribers mark on YouTube. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll be back on Sunday night as normal, and look forward to seeing you then. Until then, goodbye.